Hey, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a deep dive video on someone's discography. Today we're going to be listening to Miley Cyrus's new album, which is titled Endless Summer Vacation. It actually just came out this Friday, so it is pretty new to everyone. The only context I really have is I made a video on Flowers. It's on my channel, so I can link that below because I'll probably skip that one considering it is the first track, and I made a whole video dedicated to it. So that's some context I have, and the general consensus that I saw on at least like TikTok was that it was very polarizing. Some people loved it, some people hate it. So I don't know where I'll fall into it, but I'm excited to get into it. So let's just do that. Before we actually get started, I don't know if anyone's ever seen one of these videos that I've made before where I do an entire album. I always am trying to figure out the best way to deliver these videos just because they get so monumental to work on and edit and even record sometimes. So their overall goal is to talk about each song and highlight a few couple points from each track, but I won't be sitting here and listening to every song in its entirety in this video. I will listen to them all in full, but there will only be parts that actually come into this video. So just wanted to preface that. If you don't enjoy that, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to work on the best way to do these, so bear with me. But now let's actually get started. So like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, I have already listened to Flowers and there's a video on that. So we will start with track 2, which is titled Jaded. Sorry that you're jaded. Her voice sounds incredible on this type of song. I don't know if it's the production on the song, but if anyone did watch the Flowers video I made, I said in that video that I didn't really realize how actually like raspy or deep Miley Cyrus's voice is. And this is like the perfect track that I feel like shows that in its entirety. And it sounds great. And then I think the lyrics are pretty entertaining as well because the beginning of the song is like telling this person like, I don't want you to leave. But then she kind of turns it around and says, but it's all your fault. I'm sorry that you're jaded. I'm sorry that you're a jealous person and can't handle whatever situation that we're going through. And that's your fault, so you have to deal with those repercussions of it. Or I know with jaded, instead of jealousy, I guess I could say it's like almost indifference to a relationship. It's like you don't even care enough to be jealous sometimes. It just kind of depends on, I guess, that person. But overall, they're not in that relationship. So it kind of seems like this person is either avoiding their problems or maybe they have some sort of like addiction problem because they seem like they're going to bars until they're blurry, so they're blacking out, whether that's drugs or alcohol, and she's at home just worrying about this person, and maybe that's not the type of relationship that she wants. No one wants that. I mean, you probably want to help your partner in the best ways possible, but if they're also not willing to give help for themselves, then what are you there for either? I also want to mention that I am not against cursing in songs at all, but sometimes I think the uses of it doesn't really work and you wanted to say it, but I think, and it's a fucking shame that it ended like that, is the perfect use of it. Man, that bridge was also really good too. It says, I won't lie, it won't be easy. When someone new is on your body, I'll change my number, but keep your t-shirt. I don't mind that it's torn up and faded. Torn up and faded kind of makes me think that you want to hold on to the memory of that version of that person. But that was track 2, which is titled Jaded. I think as I go track by track, I'm going to give like a blank out of 10 for each song. So that way at the end of it, I can almost give it like a rating. I think that would be kind of fun. So I reserve the right to change them as I hear more songs, but given the context of only being on track 2, I would give this one like a 9. I really enjoyed this one, so hopefully it kind of stays consistent with this type of quality. But next up is Rose-Colored Lenses.
Sunrise got us up early, so we put on our shade. Somehow the bed sheets are dirty, like sticky sweet lemonade.
Am I just being a disgusting human being by thinking those thoughts where you say somehow the bed sheets are dirty like sticky sweet lemonade? Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna touch it.
Leave this room, daydream deja vu. If I had control over you, we could stay like this forever. Lost in wonderland, with our head above the clouds, falling stupid like we're kids, wearing rose-colored lenses. Let's just play pretend, wearing rose-colored lenses, pretend we'll never end.
One thing I will say is I like the production of the song. I like when songs make it feel like you're in an echoed room. I don't really know what the effect she was going for it with this song, but I like the way it sounds with that. And then with some of the lyrics, given the title Rose-Colored Lenses, it's like they're choosing to play pretend and maybe avoid the problems within their relationship. Considering how Jaded sounded, maybe this was before Jaded happened, because Jaded seems like she's finally letting that go, and Rose-Colored Glasses is maybe thinking like, this is our last chance, let's try to pretend like this can work. I made a video recently on another album. It was Kelsea Ballerini's Divorce EP. It was called Rolling Up the Welcome Mat, and she had a song that kind of reminded me a little bit of this, not production-wise or somewhat even lyrics, but it was called Penthouse, and she was saying like we were playing home in a penthouse. She was kind of acknowledging in that song that playing this pretend it will never work, and then you're gonna have to finally face the music eventually. So it kind of reminds me a little bit similar of the subject matter.
Stay like this forever. Lost in wonderland, with our head above the clouds, falling stupid like we're kids, wearing rose-colored lenses. Let's just play pretend, wearing rose-colored.
Or not agreeing with the TikTok that I saw where they said that the production was all over the place and it really wasn't that cohesive. That was kind of the main negativity I saw about the album. And with the first 3 tracks, I could see a pretty cohesive genre. It kind of flows between a little bit of like, regular pop music and maybe a little bit of rock essence, but I don't know if that's just her voice that I'm getting off of. But Flowers, Jaded, and Rose-Colored Glasses seem pretty cohesive to me so far. Next up is track 4, which is titled Thousand Miles with Brandi Carlile. Kind of makes me think of the And I Miss You. I don't know how it goes, but that song, everyone knows that song.
Amazing. I'm driving around town in a beat up old Mercedes. You think I'm crazy? You might be right. But when he smiles, I don't care about the past. Just like that.
I feel bad for interrupting this song, but I forgot to give a letter grade for Rose-Colored Glasses already. I don't know how. It's only 2 tracks and I already forgot the idea that I came up with. But Rose-Colored Lenses was I gave Jaded a 9, so I'm going to give that like a 7 maybe. So let's go back to this one now.
Told myself to close that door, but I'm right back here again. I know half of what I'm saying don't make no sense, so don't ask me where I've been. I'm not always right, but still I ain't got time for what went wrong.
I love that lyric. I'm not always right, but still I ain't got time to know what went wrong. It's kind of like you put that past behind you and you want to look forward where, you can admit that you weren't right in every situation, but I'm not willing to go back and rehash everything that we went through. I like that.
before the sadness. Oh, pick up the phone and I call back home, but all I get is a dial tone, and instead of hanging up, I hang my head.
I'm not even like super well versed with Hannah Montana, but this one reminds me a little bit more of that acoustic style of music. And one thing I also want to talk about is, maybe I'm very wrong on this, but like, what happened to collaborations in songs? I've noticed it with Taylor Swift because I've listened to a couple of her albums now, and just people in general with newer music. People have people featured only for background vocals, and I really don't understand that. Like, I'm not saying I would be offended personally, but if I got asked to be on a song, like, let me sing some of the song.
I told myself to close that door, but I'm right back here again. I know half of what I'm saying don't make no sense, so don't ask me where I've been. I'm not always right, but still I ain't got time for what went wrong. Where I end up, I don't really care. I'm out of my mind, but still I'm holding on like a rolling stone. 1,000 miles from anywhere.
All right, so that was the end of Thousand Miles. I did enjoy the little bit of an instrumental bridge, but at the same time, I find that none of these songs so far have really had a true bridge. So I feel like that one was missing one. I feel like that could have been one that had a really good bridge, because not all songs need it, especially like Jaded, that pop song. Like, I don't think every song needs this like crazy bridge, but I feel like this one was more of a ballad, so it would have been nicer if that would have had that. So that's just my opinion, but overall, I think this track for me was probably, I'd give it like an 8. Next up is track 5, which is titled You.
I wanna set off alarms, deal out the cards, smoke Cuban cigars, and get kicked out of bars before 2. But only if it's with you. I wanna drive down to Texas, flip off my exes, get kind of reckless, and have wild sex under the moon. But only if it's with you.
I think the line about drive down to Texas and flip off my exes is a fun play on All My Exes Live in Texas, but Miley Cyrus would elevate that to flipping someone off, and she's one artist that I would actually believe might have exes in Texas.
I got some baggage, let's do some damage. I'm not made for no horse and carriage. You know I'm
That sounds really good.
savage, but you're looking past it. I want that late night sweet magic, that forever lasting love. But only if it's with you.
I feel like I've already said it a couple times, but she has an incredible voice. So far, my only like gripe, I guess, with this song would be some of the lyric choices. Not even about the X's in Texas. I think that's fun. I ain't made no horsey in carriage. Did it need to be horsey? And then like kind of saying savage in a song feels weird, just because that's going to make a song age, I feel like. It makes sense now, but like looking back in a couple years where you listen to a song and be like, yeah, I'm a savage, like that's going to sound weird, I think. So I'm just more concerned about, I guess, the future aging of the song. But so far, I'm enjoying it.
Let's crash a wedding tonight, get drunk by the lights, then I'll pick a fight to make up on the floor of your room. But only if it's with you. I wanna cut off my hair and kick off my boots, dance in the wind just to do it again. Oh, it's true. But only if it's with you. I got some baggage, let's do some damage. I'm not made for no horsey and carriage.
I can't get over the horsey and carriage. I'm sorry.
'Cause baby, you say me I'm done. But only if it's with you. Only with you.
Man, that production part is incredible, especially with her voice. But this is another one where I'm like, bring it home. Give me a bridge with this song a little bit because I think it only really matters to me when it is a ballad. And this is a nice love song with a Miley Cyrus twist on it. And I think it would have been better with some closure or a proper ending to the song rather than just kind of doing an outro with it. But overall, I would give this one probably a 7. That feels right. And now, next up is track 6, which is titled Handstand.
We met each other on the neon dinghy, past the Mannery.
On the neon dinghy? Is that like a yacht?
Palm trees, glowing creatures beam down from great heights, electric eels and red venom. In the sky, we can see the riders on horseback.
What is this? Is this like written poetry? Electric eels and red venom. In the sky, we could ride the. In the sky, we could see the riders on horseback.
On comets, coming toward us, kicking up with laughter. My friend made twitchy rode low to the light, surfed the north break. We danced until there was nothing left.
It like sounds like the start of like some weird sci-fi movie. Questioning science because you don't understand how I'm doing what I'm fucking doing. How I'm doing what I'm doing in a fucking handstand. You found it so oppressive that I do it again. My other hand is busy, so I use my left hand. We took it kind of fast. You put it in slow. I see your mother calling and you hit ignore. This song is interesting to say the least. It kind of reminds me of Glitch from Midnights. This sounds like a video game that this sounds like a video game that I know and I can't think of what it is. Alright, so that was the end of Handstand. I think that was a pretty fun song once we got past that beginning spoken poetry. I really didn't enjoy that, to be honest. I don't understand how it had really any relation to the actual song, which was pretty funny. This song is a new baseline to where the album is going. I can finally understand what the TikTok was saying about the cohesiveness, because I do feel like the first 5 track songs held something consistent, and then this one kind of threw a wrench in that. So I'm interested to know where we're going next, because next track is called River. But before River starts, I think I'm going to give Handstand like a 5. Given what I've heard from River so far, I think that maybe would have been a better transition for the cohesiveness of the album, because Handstand was doing a lot, and I think that was kind of like a whiplash moment going from You to Handstand. I think if River maybe would have been inversed, River is kind of introducing this more electro pop, whatever this is, in a good way, and then like slowly get into Handstand, and then I think it maybe would have worked a little bit better. But so far, I'm really enjoying River. And with the lyrics, I'm actually trying to figure out what it means. You're just like a river, you go on forever. Like, is that meaning like they talk for a really long time? Or given the first lyrics are kind of like sensual, I guess maybe they like are well endowed or have good stamina. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's a good song. Ooh, I don't know if I like that part though. Blowing bub. I don't know how she said it, but it wasn't my favorite. Oh, I'm dumb. I finally understood the lyrics. Living in an April shower, I was in a drought. It isn't. It is not about someone talking too much.
Feel you everywhere. Your face is all in my head. Covered up in your sweat. It turns me on.
That's exactly what I've been looking for the last couple tracks. It didn't have to be an extensive bridge, but this took that song into a new height for me, so I really enjoyed that. I think River was great. I would probably give this song a 9 out of 10 so far. I feel like that matches pretty closely with Jaded for me, so definitely one I will listen to again. Next up is track number 8, which is titled Violet Chemistry.
Just be wrong. Ain't nothing since so long. We ain't got it talk, baby. We'll keep stereo on. When the floor's wet and the lights come on, but you don't wanna leave.
I don't think this album is meant to be like a dance album, but I could definitely see any of these like post You songs, Handstand, River, Violet Chemistry, being played at like a club.
Stay a while with me.
Maybe because they remind me a little bit of some of Dua Lipa's music, like like the song "Levitating," where she had that album, which I haven't listened to all of it, but she had a very disco-inspired album, which was really big, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of.
Stay a while with me. Stay a while, put your arms around me. Put them around me. When the floor's wet.
I'm also trying to figure out what violent chemistry means, and the only thought that I can really come up with is similar to the song Lavender Haze off of Taylor Swift's album Midnights, where that song was talking about the newest part of love. You're in like a honeymoon kind of phase, and she's kind of saying the same thing where don't deny the violent chemistry. She's saying it kind of altered their brain maybe a little bit, but it's still about being at a point in your relationship where you're very in love. So I think they have very similar meanings. I think.
Can I bum a cigarette? Paint on me and black on the key. Tonight just be wrong. Ain't nothing since so long. We ain't got it talk, baby. We'll keep the stereo on. When the floor's wet and the lights come on, but you don't wanna leave.
That pre-chorus is great. That affected my brain chemistry a little bit because I keep like already humming it even though I've only heard it twice so far. But yeah, that was Violet Chemistry. I think this was another good one. I think this is following in the cohesive of the more of electro style music. I think I would give this one probably an 8 because it's not so far it's not River or Jaded level, but it's very close. So I would give this one an 8. Next up is Muddy Feet featuring Sia. So let's get into that one.
I don't know who the hell you think you're messing with. Get the fuck out of my house with that shit. Get the fuck out of my life with that shit. And I don't know who the hell you think you're messing with. Get the fuck out of my house with that shit. Get the fuck out of my life with that shit. And you smell like perfume.
Okay, maybe it'll change up a little bit, but I said earlier in the video during Jaded that I think the use of cursing should have like a meaning, and I feel like this one is just throwing around fucking shit a lot for kind of the no reason, so I'm not vibing with it so far.
Nothing wrong with your muddy feet. I'm about to do somebody. Yeah, I'm about to do somebody.
I like that angst in her voice right there. I guess she's talking about muddy feet as if like tarnishing the relationship, like stepping all over their love because it sounds like this person's cheating maybe. That's kind of what I've gotten out of it.
You watered the weeds and you killed all the roses. Worthy your eyes when the other door closes on. So get the fuck out of my house with that shit.
I like that lyric. You watered the weeds and you killed all the roses. So maybe weeds is all of the other people that he is cheating on her with, and like those are the people that aren't going to be worth their time. Weeds are obviously pests, and their love is like a rose. So like he is basically just tarnishing and disrespecting their relationship by doing what he's doing. But overall, this was definitely not my favorite track on this album. Same thing with the Brandi Carlile song. I don't understand why featured artists don't get to be featured on the verses or even the chorus. I think that's a little weird to me, but maybe there's a reason for that I just don't know, so I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about that. This one is probably going to be my lowest ranked song, and I want to give this like a 4, to be honest. Sorry if you love this song, but not my thing. Next up, we're on track 10, which is titled Wild Card. I think I like this one so far. It said, do you want to play house? I could be your wife. Go and meet your mom in a dress too tight. Maybe I could stay and not break your heart, but don't forget I'm a wild card. I love it when you hold me, but loving you is never enough. And don't wait for me because forever may never come. I think this song is about a new relationship where I feel like it's her kind of breaking the news that she wants to be everything for this person, but she's also acknowledging that she's a wild card. She leads a life that maybe won't be sustainable, or maybe not even that. She just knows that maybe she's not built for that. So she's kind of giving this person a heads up, like, don't be surprised if I'm the ruiner of this relationship. It reminds me a little bit of a song called Peace by Taylor Swift on Folklore. That whole song is the anxiety of like, what if I can never give you exactly what you want? I think they're a little bit different just because she's saying that she will be the cause of it. And while I think Taylor was saying that too, she was trying her hardest to be that. And this one's more just saying like, take it or leave it to me. So but I do think they are kind of similar a little bit. The production on this song kind of sounds a little bit similar to Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. I know that's a Miley Cyrus song. I don't know if it's her voice in this song because it's clearly her, or if it's the production, but something about this one kind of reminds me of that, and maybe I'm a little bit off for that. But that was Wild Card. I would say this one's nothing really to write home about either. I wish it had another bridge, but it was probably middle of the road. Like, I did enjoy it. I think the lyrics were pretty good and her vocals were really good on it, so I liked it definitely more than Muddy Feet. So I feel like this one's going to fall for like a 6, I think, on the rankings. But next up is Island. This is a very relaxing type of song, but this is another one where I'm like confused of where this like genre came from in this album. But I like this one. I think it maybe makes a little bit sense because it is called Endless Summer Vacation. And this very much reminds me of like a tropical vacation. So I would argue that this one is different and maybe doesn't follow super cohesively, but I do think it fits. The only thing that's missing here is you and not TV. And now life sure gets lonelier. I wonder if this song is kind of trying to find the balance between solace in your alone time or if you hate it, because when she says, am I stranded on an island or am I stranded on an island or have I found paradise? It kind of makes me think that she has pushed herself out of the situation with that relationship. She's saying this person's missing and so is their TV, but she's no longer connected to this person. And now she feels like she's on an island with no escape, but she can't decide if like this is a good thing to have that time to myself, or is this like something that I genuinely don't want. So I kind of like the balance between the two. I instantly like this song more just because it did give us a bridge. And it says, I hear your voice like a song on the radio all day long because boy, I'd be missing you. So back to that island analogy, I think this is her just like processing the feelings of this relationship. But overall, I did enjoy this song. I do think it still is a little bit middle of the road for me, but it is one of the ones that I like more than others. So I feel like I would give this one like, I think I gave the last one a 6. So I'll give this one a 7. And I think that would make sense. Next up is track 12, which is titled Wonder Woman. Never know she's broken, 'cause she's always fine. Ooh, that was a deep cut. She's a Wonder Woman. She knows what she's like. Never known she's broken because she's always fine. That kind of makes me think that everyone puts their problems on this person or women in general and expect them to be the ones to fix their problems or heal people. I feel like a lot of times, especially in relationships, it is the women's responsibility to like fix or heal a man through their problems or something like that. So I think this is a really cool way of highlighting how women are really Wonder Women and how they really carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. The chorus said, when her favorite record's on and she's dancing in the dark, she can't stop her eyes from welling up. She makes sure that no one's around to see her fall apart. She wants to be the one that never does. So this person likes to be that rock in their family or wherever dynamic they have, and they make sure to go through all of those efforts to kind of conceal their feelings. But at the same time, it feels like it kind of sucks that they feel like their only time that they can be vulnerable is alone because everything will be perceived as weakness or however you want to interpret that. If you do it for yourself, that's great. But at the same time, if you're doing that to save other people's feelings, I feel like your feelings are just as valid as those persons. So you should be able to feel comfortable doing that around people also.
She's the one, the woman.
All right, that was the end of Wonder Woman. I think the message was incredible, so I think this song deserves a lot of attention. As a song in my ranking, is it one that I would go back to listen to all that much? Probably not, but just because of the vocal delivery, the production, and just the great message of the song, I will give this one a 9 out of 10 in the ranking, just because I think it does deserve it on that front. I think that would have been a good closing to the album, so I'm kind of confused as to why Flowers started the album and is ending it with a demo version. But we'll listen to some of it because I need to give my number ranking on Flowers anyway.
I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours.
If you live anywhere in the entire world that has a radio or TikTok, you've heard the song 1,000 times, so I don't feel the need to go through this all over. I do think I'm coming into the song with a little bit of a bias because now that it's been so overplayed, it's kind of losing its touch for me. But if I'm trying to be honest to how I liked the song when I first heard it, I think it would fall probably around an 8. I genuinely like the song, and I like that it had connections to the Bruno Mars song, and I think it was a really cool self-love anthem. But if you were asking me today, it would be much lower just because it's been overplayed. But that's not the song's fault. That's just mainstream media, because it is a great song in its own way. So that's kind of my thoughts on Flowers. But we officially finished Endless Summer Vacation. I think overall I really enjoyed this song. I haven't been doing the math in my head right now, but this is the overall scoring on the album. I'll leave it up on the screen for the rest of the video. Tell me what you thought of the album. Tell me what your standout tracks were. I think my standout tracks were Jaded, River, and Violet Chemistry. I think those are probably 3 of my favorite songs from the album. But yeah, thank you for watching, and like I said, give me your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.